and you're listening to Three Guys Talk Film. I'm Chris, and I'm joined by
George
and Nathan.
And this week we're going to be looking at Knives Out. So we're going to do a little bit of a spoiler-free review for the first 5 minutes, and then we're going to delve into some proper spoilers and just get it all talked over and get it all mulled over. But first, we've got some gaming news. Not gaming news, film news. Jesus. Wrong podcast.
Gaming podcast coming soon. That's a lie, it's not.
That's a reveal I'm not aware of. So should we start with you, George? What have you got for us?
Yeah, so in incredibly exciting news, The Fugitive will be rebooted. It's got a director by Andrew Hughes, the director of The Book of Eli back in 2010.
That film that no one watched.
Yeah, one of many, I think, from him. But yeah, this to me, I think I'm the only guy that's seen The Fugitive here, right?
Yeah.
Not to brag, but it does not need to be remade at all. Like the performances are amazing. It's one of Harrison Ford's best performances, I think.
Love Harrison.
It's one of Tommy Lee Jones's best performances as well. It's just a nice, simple story. Okay, the CGI is absolutely terrible. There's one scene where he basically jumps off into a dam, and it's just the most ridiculous looking thing you ever seen. But other than that, it's like a near perfect film. Why it needs to be remade, I have no idea. Maybe the casting choices will change my mind. Depends.
It's called Money.
It's called Money, but is The Fugitive was it that big a film?
I mean, I'd never heard of it until you told me this literally 2 days ago.
So I literally heard the name and knew that Harrison Ford was in it, but I didn't know anything about it.
That's all I knew. That's why I watched it. But yeah, it seems a strange one. It doesn't seem like a guaranteed money maker at all, and it's just confusing to me.
Yeah, a bit of a weird one.
Just as confusing is Dexter Fletcher, who directed Rocketman. He's not that confusing, but he's directing a film about Dracula's henchman Renfield. So basically, this is a guy that ends up, I believe, in the asylum after he's basically possessed by Dracula, and Dracula gets him to do all his dastardly deeds. Again, a strange one. It could be cool, I guess, but I feel like he's normally quite a peripheral character in a lot of
I mean, at least we're not doing straight Dracula.
Yeah, thank God,
fair.
after the latest one, which was just a mess.
How they spin it? Is it a horror thing? Is it a...
I think it's quite a horror-based one from what I read.
Okay.
It could be quite cool to
It
have
could be cool.
a new peripheral character that not really anybody knows about.
Yeah.
Having some solo time.
Again, I think if it focuses on him, yes. I
And
think if
Dracula's
they
in the background.
if they shoehorn Drac in,
Which they will.
it could be straight. But I trust Dexter Fletcher to make a good film. Rocketman was good. He came in and saved Bohemian Rhapsody after all of that mess that went on behind the scenes, so we'll see. And finally, the Joker sequel may be in the works. Officially, Todd Phillips has come out and said there's no contract or anything to do another one, but that doesn't mean that there won't be. You know, they didn't straight up rule it out.
Do you know why there's no
explicitly.
contract to do another one? There doesn't need to be one. That's
No,
why.
there does not.
Straight up doesn't need to be one.
Yeah, I am fully anti a Joker
I'm
sequel.
so against this.
Like that film is near on perfect because it's its own
It's
single thing.
standalone. Oh, because they'll have to
Yeah.
put Batman in it as well.
Yeah, exactly. And they'd have to answer the question about, was it all a dream?
Yeah.
Was it real? And surely part of the fun of it is not knowing.
Yeah.
It's a terrible idea.
Oh,
Hopefully Joaquin Phoenix is smart enough to not sign up.
yeah.
And I think if they don't get, because he's obviously not going to be pressured into doing something he doesn't want to do.
Well, it's Joaquin Phoenix. He doesn't even do interviews. He doesn't
Exactly.
want to do.
So you'd imagine it'd be a really good idea, or nothing at all. So
Oh, it's just going to be
we
terrible.
shall see. Yeah, let's
don't
hope it
need
doesn't
it.
happen. Let's hope for nothing at all.
Go on, Nate.
I have one piece of news as he deletes the second piece of news. Just the box office predictions for Rise of Skywalker are currently pretty much identical to Last Jedi. So there doesn't seem to be any sort of increase in hype. with it being the
Or
last one.
decrease
Or
either.
decrease.
I mean,
in hype.
decrease is impressive, to be fair, given the literal giant garbage pile that Last Jedi is.
Yeah, and I think it goes to show you that these groups on Facebook and stuff that are, pledged to abandon these films, they don't really make a difference.
No.
Yeah, I imagine it will do better than Last Jedi eventually.
Yeah, I'm surprised the predictions haven't gone up, just purely for it being the last one, because I think even if you wanted to bail after Last Jedi, surely just the last one to see it, see the series to its conclusion, would you not want to go back?
Yeah, but you've also got the people that haven't seen Star Wars. Generally, Star Wars has got quite a captive audience, right? Like it's not really changed since Force Awakens. It's been about the same. You've not really got that many new people coming into it. It knows its audience quite well. Like you don't really need that many more people coming into it because it's already massive. It's ginormous. So for me, I personally think it's better that it's not lost viewers after Last Jedi. To be honest, I mean even J.J. Abrams said that some of the choices made in that film were whack.
Whack.
I mean that wasn't the actual.
Yeah.
Well, I can't remember what the actual quote was. He basically said it was something he wouldn't do, but has worked in his favour for Rise of Skywalker.
I think he said surprisingly helpful.
Yeah, surprisingly helpful, which is basically like turning around and saying, that was a terrible idea, but thank you, it actually weirdly helped. It basically just underlines the fact that he thinks it's an awful film, which it is. So,
It's not
yeah,
bad.
it is. No, it is.
We've had the debate. We've got the list.
We have.
Let's
It's
move on.
last. It's last.
That list is
Definitive. That's what it is.
That's not the word I was going to use. all I know is that I've got my midnight ticket for Rise of Skywalker.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna 100% go see that straight away. I'm going with a couple of friends, so it'll be good.
Yeah, I'll be there with all the sweaty kids dressed as Yoda. So
You'll be one of the sweaty kids dressed as Yoda, won't you?
yeah, that is true.
They'll all be baby Yoda. You'll be real Yoda.
Also, I'm so annoyed that the Mandalorian spoilers are all over because it's not even here yet, and I
It's
already
not.
know
Can't even look at
I already know the plot of the series.
We've only got to wait 5 months, guys. March,
Yeah, that's true.
March,
Yeah,
it's
that's true.
fine. It's all good.
And also for that sweet High School Musical show that we're all looking forward to.
Which is the main reason I want to subscribe
Yeah,
to
naturally.
Disney Plus, of
Makes
course.
sense. So my bit of news is that Downton Abbey might be getting a sequel following its £184 million profit that it made on a £20 million film. So obviously that's £164 million, like just
Oh,
after.
look at
I
that
know.
maths.
Look at that sweet maths.
See, was that off the top of your head,
Oh,
or
that
did you
was
plan
that was off the cuff. That was. I don't even use notes, mate. This
You've
is
been
all
that is
inside.
You've been
incredible.
working that out all day.
I have, yeah, just like 1, 2. No, it's why it doesn't need one. It didn't even really need a film, but it makes money, so that's why it's going to be doing it. They're probably going to get the cast back again. It's probably going to be the same again in the fact that it's just a rehash of the series in a crammed 2 hours instead of 6 or 8 hours over a course of a show. It's not going to be good.
I know precisely nothing about Downton Abbey. Until the film came out, I thought it was a soap that had been going for 40 years.
No, it's Hugh Bonneville looking confused in bow ties. That's all you really need to know.
I'm weirdly sold.
The other bit of news, because none of us really know anything about Downton Abbey, is that Michael B. Jordan might be being cast as Superman. So this comes on the back of Henry Cavill's interview last week, saying he was open to doing Superman. Warner Brothers are backing on. That's great, but Michael B. Jordan. How do we feel about Superman being Michael B. Jordan? Are we pro that? Negative that?
Well, all I know is that we've already had Black Superman this year. It was Idris Elba and Hobson Shaw.
I mean, it has Idris Elba laying the groundwork.
That's true.
For Michael B. Jordan to take on the mantle of Superman.
Yeah.
I can imagine Michael B. Jordan as Superman. I haven't got a problem with that. Michael B. Jordan as Clark Kent, however,
Yeah.
just a bumbling buffoon in a news organisation.
It could work though.
Michael B. Jordan's just too good looking for that. Like,
Oh,
just
yeah,
too
unlike
ripped
Henry
and-
Cavill. Yeah.
Well, no, yeah, I don't even buy it with Henry Cavill though. I don't buy Clark
Fair,
Kent
yeah.
as Henry Cavill. It's
Fair
the same problem I have with all the Spider-Man films before Tom Holland. Really, is that they're great as Spider-Man. Well, apart from Tobey Maguire, they're great as like
Whoa,
one
whoa,
or the
hold
other.
on,
No,
hold
but you
on.
know what I mean. Like Tobey Maguire
debate
is
for another
wonderful as
time.
Peter Parker, but terrible as Spider-Man. Andrew Garfield, great as Spider-Man, terrible as Peter Parker.
Yeah,
Tom Holland finally was one that did both. And for me, I don't think Michael Jordan's going to be able to do Clark Kent. Superman, I haven't got a problem. I think he'd be mint as Superman. And if it's a film where it's not his origin story and he actually spends a lot of time in the costume, doing the do, and then occasionally is Clark Kent, then maybe it might work. But I don't know. It feels a bit weird.
I could see it. Like, to be fair, because I wasn't sure about Jamie Foxx being Electro and being that sort of geeky character, but that worked.
Yeah.
Quote unquote work. Like
Worked.
Jamie Foxx wasn't bad; he was just in a bad film.
Yeah.
Like, Jamie Foxx is probably still the best thing about that film.
I mean, it's not hard to be the best part of that.
Yeah,
film, to be honest.
yeah, that's
Probably the opening sequence transition thing is the best part of that film.
Yeah.
Because it actually looked good.
It
And
set you up for you're there, you're thinking you're in for a good time,
And then you're not.
and then
You're really
reality
not.
strikes.
The Gwen Stacy death was beautifully shot. It was It was unearned, but it was nicely shot.
It was just ripped from the comics, that's why. It was straight up shot for shot ripped from the comics.
Please don't make me relive Amazing Spider-Man 2. Can we move on?
We'll moving swiftly on.
I'm getting sad.
Let's move to what we're all here for, lads. Knives Out.
Yes.
Yes.
So George, we'll start with you because you've got the most positive views. It's always best to start on a positive.
I like that you end on the negative.
End on the negative.
Bring people down and then send them off.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay.
So we'll start with our little spoiler-free section. So we're going to do about 5 minutes, just a general chat about the film, not spoil it, and then we'll go into like some actual deep spoilers because that's where my main problems come from it, really.
Yeah.
So yeah, what did you think?
I thought it was a really, really fun film. It was surprisingly a lot more enjoyable than I thought. I thought that they'd lean a lot more into the kind of tension, but it was actually just a really fun film. I think the script was really clever with the storytelling, but also the humour was genuinely, it felt natural, and all of the characters felt fleshed out and different to one another. Sometimes not the best characters, and sometimes with obvious motivations, but I just had a really, really fun time with it, and I love the choices of who's the kind of focus of the film is on. I won't say who, but that was a surprise to me and a pleasant one as well. And I really like the stylistic choices of it as well. I think the direction was amazing. The set design, costume design was all incredible, and the kind of the stereotypical whodunit score was really cool as well. So all in all, I thought it was really good. One of the most enjoyable films of the year for me. And you guys go ahead and tear me down now.
I think I'm relatively middle of the road. I was really, really enjoying it up until sort of the last 20 minutes or so, maybe half an hour. It's really well written, like you said, and there was a lot more humour in it than I expected, and like a lot more humour that landed as well. The script's really self-aware. Like, it's a whodunit that takes the mick out of being a whodunit, which I quite appreciate. You can tell that every single actor in it is having just an absolute ball. Daniel Craig especially, complete with his
really dodgy southern accent.
His wonderful accent that he apparently had a vocal coach for.
He did?
Accent
No
coach.
way.
No,
Yeah,
it's
in the credits, yeah.
Well, they needed firing.
Yeah. But yeah, I really enjoyed it for the most part. Same as you, I kind of liked where it focused, because the person it focused on had probably been kept out of the marketing quite a lot. Like,
for sure.
Like, from the trailers and stuff, I was expecting it to mainly take place sort of inside the house, basically. I wasn't expecting as much like focus on one character, which I really liked, but it fell apart for me a bit at the end.
Yeah, I'd agree with that, with more annoyedness at the end, to be honest. I thought it was really, like we've all said, it was really pretty. I really liked Daniel Craig in it, actually. I thought he did a really good job despite his accent.
Yeah, he was really entertaining. It's probably my favourite role of his so far.
Yeah, for sure. He's better than his Bond by.
Oh, yeah, well, at least this guy is a character
of
some sort. But that's another debate for another time.
But like you say, all of them were quite fleshed out. It knew what it was, which I think was a very important plus for it. It had a very strong sense of self-identity. Like we were all saying, I was expecting it to be as funny as it was, to be honest. Having seen a lot of TV whodunits, like Death in Paradise, Murder, She Wrote, all that kind of stuff, they are all funny. So I was looking forward to it being quite jokey, quite smart. Like Chris Evans in the trailers, for example, looked funny, and I was like, okay, there's no way that character makes sense if this takes itself seriously, and then he's just juxtaposing throughout the entire film. It would be weird.
Well, I was expected to be as laugh out loud funny though.
Yeah, exactly. I was expecting there to be humour, but kind of in the Marvel sense, in that it's there. It's not always that funny.
Yeah, but I think we've been whatever about humour in films, because we're just so used to Marvel films. Their humour just being very obvious, very there. Any kind of high budget film, because we've got the Marvel films and the Star Wars films that are both made by the same people, and they're both very in your face. The humour is on the money.
Yeah, I guess that's it. Maybe it's more The Last Jedi's jokes didn't land for me, so I expected similar. Yeah, but again, that, like you say, that might be because it's Disney owned. Yeah.
I think Disney took a lot out of his script that he would have wanted potentially, based on Knives Out and how funny that was. And then you watch Last Jedi back and you're like, how did the same person come up with this? But that's going to be the end of our spoiler-free chat. So we're going to come on to the spoilers.
Insert klaxon sounds.
Just air horn.
We don't have the editing skill to insert classes.
That's true.
So I'm gonna straight go in there at the end.
Okay.
I'm gonna
Start from the end. You kind of have to.
You
really.
kind of have to.
These films live and die by the whodunit.
Yeah.
Like that's where these films make their name.
And it was so obvious.
Yeah.
It was so obvious that I ruled him out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the same for me.
Yeah, it was like he was the last person I expected it to be, but not because it was so like clever and like
Just because it was
earth-shattering
so
that it was him.
obvious, yeah.
It was just like he's quite clearly the arsehole throughout the entire film,
And it's Chris Evans.
and it's Chris Evans. Like
the biggest name on the ticket. One of them, obviously.
It would
Yeah,
have been.
Daniel Craig's lawyer is blowing up your phone right now.
Well, literally,
Captain America's better than James Bond, but again, another debate for another time.
But if it had been either Daniel Craig or Chris Evans, I was prepared to be really disappointed because it would not have been interesting.
Yeah.
Because they were both high ticket names. You know they're going to be in it. You know they're going to have big roles. They don't need to be the murderer, and yet one of them was. And the prop knife, like that, just bugged me.
I liked the prop knife.
I
hate
liked
it.
it.
It was
It
so
kind of summed up the
signposted.
film for me.
It was so signposted at the
When?
beginning when he says, "Idiots don't know the difference between a knife and a prop knife," and I was like, "That chair has been throughout that film, and no one has died because of that chair. That is clearly a health and safety risk. There is no way you could make that chair with it being real knives." I saw it coming, and it just really frustrated me because I wanted it. I wanted his big like reveal to be a bit more impactful and like reaching for the knife, going for her. It was just a bit pants. It just felt a bit naff. Like I almost wanted that to be the twist, and then they all leave, and it turns out actually in the end she did do it.
Yeah.
Like, another twist after that.
I was waiting for the second twist. Like when I forget what his name was. When Daniel Craig's character is basically reeling off the whole explanation of what happened. Blanc, that's his name.
Yeah, Blanc.
Yeah. I was waiting for the bubble to burst, and like
Yeah.
I was waiting for it. I was waiting for him to get arrested, and I was waiting for another character to suddenly step in, and it'd be them that did it. And it never happened, so that kind of shortchanged me a little bit.
See, I quite liked it because I always like it when the good person wins, and I like how it had a surprisingly nice message to it in that
It did, yeah.
she didn't play the game, she wasn't deceitful, she wasn't spiteful, and yet she still won. And then at the end, she's just there with a mug as the boss, with all the family looking up like, please help.
That final shot is good.
Yeah, that final.
Yeah, for me that made it a good choice. I can see why you didn't like the knife thing, because it was a cheap gag really for the big climax. But for me, it kind of fit in with the fun elements of the film.
It's just that final act is just a bit pants.
I think the first
dragged
act is
as
the
well.
best. The first act is the best, and then
Yeah.
it slowly gets weaker as it goes on.
I really liked the fact that Marta is the main protagonist throughout the film, and it's not Daniel Craig. Because all the marketing made it look like it was Daniel Craig who was going to
Yes.
be leading that film, and then it wasn't. Was she even in the marketing?
I didn't know
She
she.
was-
I didn't know she was in it until George told me.
She was in one scene of the trailer where it's the bit at the end actually where he grabs the knife and she does the kind of propel backwards. I think that's the only scene with her in.
So
But she is an incredible actress.
she was really good.
Yeah.
She
Yeah.
was phenomenal.
So
throughout that film.
she was really good in Blade Runner 2049.
Mm.
She's brilliant in that.
She's going to be massive in a couple of years. To be
Yeah.
honest.
Yeah.
She's going to be like Margot Robbie level
I think so as well.
easily.
I really appreciated how, like, even though I didn't like the twist that much, I liked the fact that the crime, it was like almost like it was the evidence that kind of got twisted, not the person.
Yeah,
more
I
so.
like that as well. It wasn't even a murder mystery in the end.
Yeah, it was actually suicide. In the end.
It pretty much was. Yeah.
Like the actual murder that took place was just a kind of a random murder that took place because of the other death,
Yeah,
Yeah.
Fran's death.
which I thought was pretty cool. Because to have a successful whodunit where there isn't even an actual murder, but it still be, entertaining.
Yeah.
For me, I found a lot of the tension was taken out of it by the fact that Marta was almost named as the murderer straight away, because instantly having watched these kind of things before, she hasn't done it, because that would be such a short change if it turned out really she was the villain, which is why I kind of wanted it to happen in the end.
Yeah.
Really, to be honest, because it would have been such a big you're playing that trope expectation, and I think it it took a lot of the tension out because you're watching her journey as she tries to prove her innocence, and you're like, well, that takes all the detecting out of it because we kind of know she didn't do it. So Blanc kind of looked like an idiot for not thinking about it, and then it turns out he did all along and all that nonsense. And it just felt, I don't know, it just felt a bit too clever in places, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that was kind of part of my problem. Like, as soon as, obviously, because we know, we know what happened from the very start.
Yeah, we know the sequence of events, and that's just very strange.
Yeah, which is really weird. But like, I feel like that's kind of the point. But I don't know if it, like I said, like it takes a lot of the tension out of it when you know what happened and you just don't know why.
Yeah, like we saw him kill himself. We saw the morphine injection, which obviously wasn't a morphine injection because she picked it up properly. But ultimately, we thought there was a mistake there and maybe the evidence had been twisted or whatever. And we saw how she then covered it up, all within the first hour.
Yeah.
So the last hour kind of felt a bit unnecessary, almost, because the whole whodunit is meant to be the whole premise. They're meant to be finding out, and the fact that we knew all the details and all the facts, apart from the last little bit about Chris Evans being the one who did it, was just a bit shortchangey for me.
Yeah, I think it was the fact that obviously throughout the film you kind of you're almost looking in like the least obvious places. So like I thought it was going to be, I forget what's the main girl's name.
Marta.
Marta. I thought it was going to be her mother.
Yeah, her mum would have been a good
something to do with the inheritance. Like there's all these like small little characters that I thought might have more of a part to play, and then it ended up just being the guy that was front and center for like the whole like last hour.
That was a bit dissatisfying for me.
And they never addressed the ball.
No, the ball's just there. It's a thing.
Yeah, it just.
I think it's meant to be a metaphor about like the fact that he throws it out and then it finally comes home. Like I think it's meant to be a metaphor for the homeowner. Like his family throw him out and then he comes back in the house when finally somebody he wants to own the house owns the house. That's what I think it's meant to be a metaphor for.
I am nowhere near smart enough to pick up on that.
Yeah. That was a deep one.
I was literally just like, man threw ball out of window, dog picks up ball.
But if you think about it, like Chris Evans is the one that threw the ball out, so Chris Evans is the one that killed him. Then
no,
I thought
it was
Chris Evans threw it.
No, it was the guy who was cheating on his wife.
Oh yeah, it was.
Anyway. It was Judd from Watchmen.
But anyway, they threw the family threw the ball out.
Yeah.
And then the ball finally gets put back in when Marta takes over. So it's meant to be Heston doesn't want his house taken over by his family. His family never wanted him anyway. And then finally, when he does get the one bit of family, i.e. Marta, to have the house and everything that he wanted, he's finally back in the house and everything's completed, which is quite nice.
I think it was the fact that like that Daniel Craig was holding it throughout most of the film. So I was kind
of made it feel like a plot point, yeah.
Yeah, like it seemed to emphasize it way too much for it to be irrelevant, and then it was. It was the same with the guy cheating on his wife. Like it didn't really come to anything.
Yeah, that was a plot thread.
Like it was kind of like it was almost like a weird subplot, which I don't think this film really needed.
She did find out in the end, though, didn't she?
Yeah,
About it, it was there, but it didn't really. It didn't
maybe off screen.
Yeah, but off screen's naff. I want to see it.
She punched him, didn't she?
No.
Yeah, he had like a mark around his eye. In the
she did.
It was like a red eye, where it looks like she's belted him.
Yeah, she did whack him on.
Yeah.
Oh, see, but that's naff, isn't it?
Release the Schneider cut.
I want a full-on divorce. I want the divorce settlement at the end. Maybe that would have been a nice post-credit scene, to be fair.
Maybe it just had like an unnecessary subplot. Like I don't think a whodunit needs a subplot.
But it's meant to provide motive for all the other family members. But then again, like we said, we knew who it was, so they didn't need motives.
Yeah, and like a lot of the characters were quite interesting on surface level. So I was kind of hoping that like we'd sort of see more about like why they could have done it. Like again, like everyone's motive was outlined in the first hour. Then we found out what happened, and then we were just basically we're just watching this chain of events where Daniel Craig works out what actually happened.
Yeah,
which a lot of programs have done as well. Like Columbo used to do it that way.
Yeah,
the audience knows, but the detective doesn't. You kind of take that journey with them.
Luther does it as well.
Yeah, I suppose it depends on your kind of preference.
Yeah, that's fair.
But where those work is because it's about finding out. It almost is half and half with Knives Out. So you know who the murderer is, but you don't because it's not her. It's actually Chris Evans. So it's not a character piece on figuring out why the murderer did it. But it's also not a straight up whodunit, let's piece all the evidence together because you've already seen all the evidence. So it kind of straddles the middle of that and for me doesn't deliver on either of them.
Fair enough.
Which is why I personally, while I thoroughly enjoyed Daniel Craig and I thoroughly enjoyed Marta, the sets were beautiful, the script was actually really funny, and the characters themselves were quite interesting.
Yeah,
Still give it like a 7 out of 10.
I mean, that's a lot higher than I was expecting, to be fair. But you did bring me to an important point with the characters. Who was your favourite? Or favourites? Because I think there were loads to choose from.
I really liked Walt. I really liked him.
Oh, really?
Genuinely,
I was not expecting that.
He was weirdly terrifying in that
That's
one
true.
scene where he is threatening her with a stick.
Yeah.
He was so
Banging it on the ground.
Yeah, he's so. But you wouldn't think that based on the rest of the film, because he's a massive weakling throughout the entire film. And he suddenly has this big centre stage moment where he gets to be like, "We're gonna take all your money off you," and she's like, "Well, tough, because I've got your money, so deal with it." Which is great. It actually gives her a lot of agency, which I really, really liked. But yeah, Walt was arguably one of my favourites. I really
That's a
liked
good
him.
show, actually. I didn't really give any attention to him, but I thought Toni Collette was really funny as the kind of Instagram mom kind of approach.
Yeah.
I think she sold it really well.
The Nazi child.
Yeah,
Oh, the
just
Nazi child.
there. He has like one line throughout the whole thing.
Masturbating in the bathroom.
Yeah. Oh, that's just. We're not going to say what, because that was just weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was very strange.
That could be the best no context spoiler of all time.
I also thought Christopher Plummer was really good.
Yeah,
I think he was really charming.
As Winston, he was really good.
Yeah, because when he died, I thought, surprisingly little for him to do, but actually, again,
There was a lot of flashbacks.
like Marta, he was one of the main characters, really.
I love Christopher Plummer in everything he's in, to be honest. He always gives a good performance.
Yeah.
I really like Jamie Lee Curtis.
Oh,
Just because
interesting shout.
she was just this she was the most commanding, powerful character in the whole thing. Like every scene that she was in, the room was hers.
Yeah.
And she just she had that no nonsense attitude. Her husband was terrified of her, clearly, although not too terrified to cheat.
Yeah,
but
he paid the price.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Potentially, maybe.
but
off-screen.
also Daniel Craig, the accent is off-putting at first, but I think once you settle into it.
Was his accent coach Steve Carell?
I think it might have been
from the murder mystery episode of The Office, because honestly, when he says murder, is that murder? That was not it, but
there's been a murder.
Is exactly, genuinely, even the pitch of it was exactly the same. I got major Office flashbacks.
Why has he got a coin? Why is he flipping a coin?
Because it was cool for the trailer, I think. Probably.
Literally, that's it. Why?
And flipping a coin in slow motion is the coolest thing in the world.
I liked how it started in slow mo.
Yeah.
Sorry, I meant to say, really liked how it started in slow mo with no sound on the actual film,
cool.
and it was all audio. That was so beautiful. That was proper oh, let's go. I'm ready. It settled it, like you said, it settled in. The first hour is really good, and then you've got that thing where you find out Marta did do it, and it's just naff.
It handled
And then she didn't do it because it was changing the files and whatever, but you knew all of the sequence of events, and it was about figuring out how that sequence shifted and made her not the killer, and it just annoyed me.
It handled the necessary exposition dump at the start quite well as well, because that can always be the worst part. Where it's you have to kind of explain all the relationships, where they were on the night, what their motivation is. But I think it handled that in quite a cute way at the start.
It's quite clever that they were doing it for Daniel Craig's benefit.
Yeah,
because that's how they did it. It was for the introduction of this new investigator, we're going to be going over everything we've already discovered.
And honestly, I could have watched another hour of just them being interrogated.
Oh, the interrogation was so good.
So fun.
Why was there not more of that? I would have loved more of that.
Yeah.
I just want more of Daniel Craig talking about donuts.
This is a donut.
That was just amazing.
That was beautiful.
He absolutely nailed the comedy.
But then there's a smaller donut inside that donut, so our donut is not complete.
And our donut's not really the donut at all. It's just the hole outside, the original donut.
The second no context spoiler.
And yeah, so I think let's do scores.
Yeah.
So I'll give it mine 7 out of 10.
7 out of 10. I don't really know, because I genuinely think this was a 9 out of 10 for me up until the last 20 minutes. So I think...
Mine was a 10 until then.
Okay. I think I'll be generous and I'm going to go for a strong 8.5.
8.5, putting in those halves.
Yeah, I'll throw a half in there.
I respect that. So I'm only half higher, 9 out of 10.
Okay.
So there's a nice even split there. I think we've got a good range.
Yeah, so I thought you liked it a lot less.
Yeah, I was expecting a 4 out of 10.
Right.
Yeah.
I enjoyed a lot of it though.
Given that you called it quote garbage, trash earlier.
It was trash. The ending's trash. The more I think about the ending, the more trash it is.
Yeah.
But I can't let the ending ruin the entire film, because up to that I was thoroughly enjoying myself.
And I don't think it's a bad ending. I just don't think it's the ending that we would have chosen.
And
Yeah,
it's not
it's
the ending the film
underwhelming.
deserved either.
Yeah.
No, but I think it's like it's a satisfactory ending to a very, very good film.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Which is why it's a
Yeah.
7, because everything else up to that point is dead.
Because 7 means good.
Yes. It
Yeah,
does.
7 is good.
7 is good. I
Yeah.
will rage at a 5 at some point. I get really annoyed that people in the industry seem to think 7 is a 5.
Yeah. Whereas, yeah.
No, 5 is 5.
Yeah.
5 is average.
Yeah. Like it's not film related, but the creator Jim Sterling, he got death threats because he gave Legend of Zelda a 7 out of 10 and called it a very good game. He got death threats
Because it wasn't a 10 out of 10.
I think it knocked down the Metacritic score by like 1,
Yeah.
and people just lost it.
Please don't direct death threats our way. We're very sensitive.
We are very sensitive.
We are. It's true. Yeah. That's fair. Anyway, we're
On
going
that
to do
note.
our final section, which is, as usual, questions. And this week, it's my turn. So questions. Let's go. What have you got?
It's becoming increasingly apparent that I did not write my questions down,
Oh, mate.
so I'm just gonna wing it.
Quick fire from
Hang
your
on.
brain.
Quick fire to the brain.
I've got
Not to
I've
the
got
brain.
Some, I've got some as well.
All right, I've got one.
Your questions for yourself.
No, because Liam texted me some. So
Okay.
Shout out to Liam. I've got one for you though
Okay.
on the kind of detective whodunit scene.
okay.
Who's your favourite detective ever?
Ever. Oh, have a scroll through that. Ever. It's gonna have to be TV over film because TV
Yeah.
gives you a much better range to be able to do it. Sherlock Holmes is the obvious one, but no. To be honest,
What is this message thread that you're making me read?
I know, yes, I was. I think it has to be John Luther.
Great shout. Great shout.
It has to be. I can't think. Nobody else is so emotionally broken, intelligent, and just genius and amazing, but also really human and fragile.
Sorry to cut you off, but I'm being really dense. I can't find a single question.
That's fair enough.
Okay.
I would like to shout out my boy Jake Peralta. I know we don't want to go too gritty with this, but you know,
He does have
Yeah.
some
He's
really
a
good
genius.
moments, to be
He's
fair.
a
He does have
genius.
some really good moments. But yeah, Luther for me. I know
That's
Poirot
a
is a
good
classic choice as well. Chris Marshall from Death in Paradise, when he did it, was
oh,
great.
he was incredible.
Humphrey, whatever his last name was.
Yeah, I miss him so much.
He
I'm
was
looking
really
forward to
good.
Ralph Little though. I
Oh,
think
is
he'll
Ralph
be
Little taking over?
good. Yeah,
Ah,
coming season.
I think I have to go Luther as well.
yeah.
Yeah.
Just as a standout, I'm not going to give Benedict Cumberbatch's Sherlock it
Yeah, 'cause-
because it's terrible.
Very
Ooh,
cheesy. It's cheesy.
Controversial.
It's not controversial. Elementary is just loads better.
Seasons 1 and 2 are fantastic.
Yeah, and then 3 and 4 are absolute trash.
3 Guys Talk TV. Yeah, no, yeah. For me, it's definitely Luther. Just because, he's not the standard quote unquote genius detective. Like he's very very good at what he does, but he always seems to find it in a believable way. Like he's not just he doesn't have that eureka moment.
No.
He just figures it out in a very like rational and systematic way.
And Idris Elba.
Yeah, my boy.
Yeah, exactly.
Need I say more?
This week, Idris can sponsor the podcast.
Oh, gladly.
We're just gonna beg a different actor every week to be on the podcast.
So go on, we got any more? Any more off the cuff ones?
Yeah, well, one of mine that I didn't write down was what's an actor that everyone else seems to like but you just can't get on with?
Oh, that's a good one.
Because I have my
I've got
answer.
so many.
I
You have your
I have
answer.
my answer.
Oh. Before Suicide Squad, it would have been Margot Robbie because I just didn't get the hype. And then after Suicide Squad, she's been really, really good. Oh, that is a really tough one, actually. Go on, give me your answer while I think, to be fair, because that's a really, really hard one.
Mine's Will Ferrell
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I
Yes,
understand that.
I feel that.
because
Yeah.
to go
It's not funny.
to go back to our first episode when I said what's the most overrated film to George and he said Endgame, mine would have been Step Brothers.
I thought you were going to say Elf.
Anything he's ever done. I like one Will Ferrell film, and it's the Lego Movie.
Oh yeah.
And that's purely because I didn't know it was him until the live action bit. But yeah, I just can't get on with his sense of humour. Like to me, it's not clever. Like to me, the funniest thing he's ever done was his award acceptance speech, where he drops the award and smashes it, and then does the whole bit after about how he's going to really take care of it and how he really appreciates the award. Like that was really clever. Like I want more like that. But in his films, he just shouts.
Yeah. I think Jim Carrey.
Yeah, similar kind of approach.
Similar kind of approach. Actually, no, I'm changing my answer. I cannot get on with what's his name? Mark Wahlberg. I cannot get on with Mark Wahlberg.
To be
Definitely.
fair, I don't think he's that popular in general. To be honest,
He's quite popular.
He
though.
gets big roles.
He gets big
he
roles.
does get big. I think he's just like. I think he's quite dependable. Like you know what you get with Wahlberg.
Yeah, I just can't get on with him.
Yeah, if you want
Cannot
like
get on with him.
a money maker that's not good, then you
Yeah.
call Wahlberg, don't you really?
Yeah.
Or
Like, he's-
Gerard Butler.
He's been cast in
Gerard
Uncharted, the Uncharted film as Sully, and I'm so upset by that fact.
That film's been in development hell for so long.
So long. It's coming out next year though.
You know, the guy who was originally cast as Nathan Drake is now Sully. That's how long it's been in development hell for.
Yep. And it's just bad.
Mine is Daniel Craig.
Really?
Ooh.
Even
Top
after.
Even after Knives Out.
So you're
Yeah,
not,
I mean he had
not
a good
Benoit Blanc fan?
performance, but yeah, just can't. He's one of the worst Bonds ever for me. Spectre was just
Oh yeah,
atrocious.
that's a trash film. That is a trash film.
And he has no, he just brings no charisma to it whatsoever. So
Well, Skyfall is only good because it's not about him.
yeah, exactly, exactly.
It's about him.
I have never seen a single James Bond film.
Oh, you need to see Skyfall. It's dope.
Skyfall was good.
Dope.
Yeah.
It's dope. Yeah, it's
dope.
better than good.
That was on the poster, I think.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
The little known quote from me, the
Fi-
poster.
5 stars, dope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's what it is, isn't it? 2 stars is trash, and then 10 out of 10 is dope for me. That's where my scale is. I need some middle ground words.
I've got one final question
Go on,
for you.
final one.
Of all the films coming out in January, what's the one you're looking forward to most?
1917.
Yeah,
Straight off
that's-
the bat. It just
more than
has to be.
Jojo Rabbit.
Jojo Rabbit looks really good.
Mhm.
There's the one about, I can't remember what it's called, but it's the one where the 3 women in Fox News.
Bombshell.
Bombshell.
That
that's
looks
what
really
it's
good as well.
called. That looks amazing.
The Gentleman is also out.
Gentleman looks really good. But 1917, it has
It
to
just
be.
looks a masterpiece.
It looks beautiful. I'm getting Dunkirk vibes, and I thoroughly enjoyed Dunkirk.
Dunkirk single take. If you combine those two,
You,
if it manages it.
if it gets it
Mhm.
and does it well, I'd like actually a lot of the trailer stuff to be in the film. So you know the way the titles are like
Yeah.
over the image, and then the image bleeds in underneath.
Yeah.
I would love that to
Amazing.
be in the actual film. Just the introductory character names, and they bleed through, and it just pulls out. That'd be so nice. But yeah, it's got to be 1917. It has to be.
Yeah, same here. Just
It's going to be
it's
amazing.
Saving Private Ryan is one of my favourite films ever.
Oh yeah. It's a
So
quality
this
film.
is just like it's just ticking every box possible. Is one of the brothers in 1917? Is it King Tommen from Game of Thrones?
I don't know.
Because it really looks like him, and if it's not, then they're good.
I don't think it is.
Keep talking.
Either way, can we talk about Colin Firth because he is also in that film?
Oh, Colin Firth looks like he's going to be great in that film.
Yeah,
And Benedict
so-
Cumberbatch is in that film as well. Like,
Yeah.
What looks like a really small role.
yeah,
which is
for
interesting.
both of them really.
Yeah, there's just like one shot of him in the trailer, I think.
Yeah.
With his little moustache.
With his little
Well,
moustache.
it's going to be following the two guys, isn't it,
Mm.
across their kind of journey. So I imagine, apart from those two, barely anyone will be in it too long.
I don't want to make the mistake of a lot of the film being with other people.
Exactly.
I want it to just be those two
Yeah.
a lot of the time. Like the 2 snipers, the Russian and American sniper, where they're shooting each other. I can't remember that film's called. Jude Law's in it. Enemy of the Gate or something, I think it's called. But it's where they have basically Jude Law is like on his own with this other sniper the entire film pretty much, and it's so good for that fact. But if they do have like a big scene where they finally find people, it's kind of going to be at the end of the film or at the beginning
Yeah.
of the film, and then you show what they've lost. That would be quite nice.
It is King Tommen.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I hope they meet the same fate.
What? It just jumps off a giant tower.
Well, spoilers.
Yeah,
For Game of
spoiler for
Thrones.
me. That
Oh, have you not
is
seen it?
literally not seen it yet.
Oh, I'm
but,
so
you know.
sorry.
Oh, wow.
I'm so sorry.
Wow.
Wow.
I think we better end it there. so I can
You were
cry.
fully backing the King Tommen horse, weren't you? You were like, he's
I
going
am.
to survive this whole thing.
I am a mass. Yeah, he's clearly fit
Yeah.
for it. Yeah, it's not really much of a spoiler. I've had
Oh
the
my God.
biggest spoilers spoiled for me, so it's
Which
all
one?
good. The,
Spoiler alert for Game of Thrones.
the Jon Snow Daenerys betrayal,
Oh yeah, but you see that coming 10 episodes in advance.
and
so I
also
wouldn't worry.
the Winterfell carpet bomb.
Winterfell. Oh yeah, so good.
The Winterfell carpet bomb.
But I still don't know the ending, so I'm sure.
I mean, they don't really. So
That's all right.
It's fine.
That's all right.
I'm still waiting for it actually.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for the proper ending because it's trash. Once again, 2 out of 10. So we're gonna end it there for this.
2
week.
out of 10 means not dope. In
It does
Chris
qualify as not dope. We're gonna leave it there for this week. What we got next week? Last week I think we've got Christmas. next week.
Christmas,
Yeah,
Christmas is coming.
with Polly.
with Polly. So we're gonna have my flatmate Polly's gonna come and join us to list our 5 favourite Christmas films.
3 guys and a girl talk film.
3 guys and a girl. Diversity.
Diversity.
But what we're going to do, so the setup we're going to have is we're all going to bring a list of 5 films, and we're going to try and pick out the ultimate film from that.
Yes.
It's already Die Hard. There's no point.
It's not Die Hard.
It's not, because it's Love Actually.
It's not Love Actually either, although I prefer Love Actually over Die
And
Hard.
for
We'll
more,
save this for
and
next
for
week.
more quality content like this, come back next week.
Yeah,
Where we
let's not
basically
do the
argue over
podcast
Christmas.
yet. Yeah.
Right, thank you very much for listening, and I look forward to you coming back next week. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.